Okay, I'm happy with this little benchmark or breakthrough, so I'm gonna just go over this really quick. So I created a function that, right, texture as uniform set number 1 underscore u32. So this is going to fetch the original uint32 value that we pushed up. The way it's going to do that is it's going to fetch the texture value using the index, and the index is going to be mapped to those constants that map to the variables. And in the index lookup calculation, this is nothing new, but it's important to note that the index function here returns a uvec4. So those different components, the R, G, B, and A, are still separate components. They're not all packed into a uint32 value yet. So we have bit shifting in WebGL2. So after we fetch the different components, the uvec4, we're going to name that tauvec for texture as uniform vector, and then we'll create texture as uniform uint32, and we're just going to bit pack everything together, right? So we're going to take the x component, which is the red, shift that into place where it belongs, green, blue, and alpha, right? And we're just going to shift them into their byte locations, and that will repack all of the components, so we'll have the original value that we packed. And I have proof that this is actually working. So let's go to where this is being called. It's only being called in one place right now. This is still a complete mess, but you'll see that the shader index, dexShaw here, is being fetched, and it is a uint, right, an unsigned integer, because that's what we're working with for all of our uniforms, unsigned integers, is to keep it very simple. And we're going to use that fetching function, and here is the hard-coded define that identifies the location of the dexShaw variable within the texture. So where are we going to use this? Well, we're going to go all the way down here, and we're just going to add a little piece of code that says if the shader index is 6, we're just going to fill the screen with green just to get some confirmation that we actually have what we think we have. So over here, here's the shader code you were looking at, that function. And if I press 1, nothing happens. Oh, actually, let's totally refresh for a second. Okay, so when we totally refresh, and I press 1, so look up in this upper left corner at 0, 0 here. I'm going to press the number 1, right? So that looks like it's just a white pixel, but that's actually black with the alpha value set to 1. If I press 2, that is black with the alpha value set to 2, etc., right? So now I'm going to press 3. Okay, now I'm going to press 4, moment of truth. Pressing 4. Oh, wait, not 4. What do you call it? False alarm. I coded that for 6, so 5. Okay, now the moment of truth. 6. There we go. Awesome. Okay, well, now if we press another number, do we go back? Yep. Oh, there we go. Yep, back and forth, back and forth. So what this is saying is that I am actually now using a texture to store uniform values, and I am able to push those values up, and then I'm also able to retrieve them in the shader. So we were able to throw the value up onto the VRAM and then access it in the shader. So now we got all that structure we put in place it's in place. We're like ready to go. So the next thing I want to do is just have for the number keys for this shader. So this shader you're looking at is the shader for editor mode 1. Editor mode 1, I just want to have it be a little sampler for different shader effects. So as I'm doing shader tutorials, I can create like a little sampler gallery where you just press different numbers to see different shaders, which I think I already said I was going to do. So yeah, I'm happy with this. The little proof of concept is working so far, and I'm going to keep on taking this further. So I'll see you when I have more to report.